I'm Trent, and this is Vision Preparedness. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Mayhemic Thursday. Skull. How's everybody doing today? Good to see everybody in the house. I hope everybody had a great day, a productive day, and all that good stuff, y'all. But we close. We getting there near the weekend, y'all, and it just gets more Mayhemic. Yes. She said, how you doing? How you be? How's it going? My man, KP Heathen's in the house. Scott Hummer, my man, good to see you. My personal moderator and brother, Mr. Ghost Lincoln, good to see you. How you doing? We are waiting on our special guest, and that's okay. He gonna be right on time when he gets here, without a doubt. Connie Corso, good to see you. How you doing, bruh? Hope everything is going well. Welcome in, LMDMT. How you be? How you doing? How's it going? Hope you had a great day today. That's right, exactly. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hope everybody had a great day. That's right, absolutely. Come on in, y'all. Sit down. Billy, how are you? How you doing? How's everything going? Please tell Metal for breakfast I said hi. Yeah. My man, Prepper Book Club's in the house with the thumbs up. Good to see you, my brother. Hope you had a great day today. Paper Buttons 19, so good to see you. How are you? Hope you're doing well. All that good stuff. Y'all come on in, get settled down, kick your shoes off, pull out your favorite beverage, sit back, because we're going to talk about dealing with PTSD during full-blown SHTF. And this topic actually came up last night. I was talking to a good friend of mine, was texting me, and mentioned it, and I was like, ooh, you know what? That is a topic we have not heard nor discussed. So we're going to talk about it tonight, or a thing or three, and see where we land. Yeah, Katrinka, good evening. Good to see you. How you doing? Thank you for joining us tonight. Who else is in the house? Eloa Ministries, good to see you. Little Lone Prepper, how you doing? How's it going? Did I see the professor stroll in and all that good stuff? Rescue, my man, so good to see you. Hope you're doing great. My Renaissance grandma's in the house. Y'all better behave, because, you know, grandma will walk over to you and sit down and say, what is wrong with you? Did you leave your manners outside? So be nice, because my Renaissance grandma is nice, but she'll tell you a thing or three and about yourself and straighten up. So we got to be on our best behavior tonight. Yeah, hope you're doing well, my Renaissance grandma. Hope everything is going well with you. Professor, did I see you? Did I not? Am I going crazy? Amy King, welcome in. So good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. My man, half ready's in the building. He half ready. Somebody help him get his other half ready, please. Because I need the brother down in the Kakalaki. Sell mom and them, I said, hey, grit and grace. Good to see you. Hope you had a great day as well. There's the professor. I was looking for you, sir. How are you? Hope you had a great day, my man. Skull. Greetings from the Erie Coast. Yeah, absolutely. The great state of Ohio. Folks, it's 82 degrees at 8 p.m. I'm telling y'all, it just don't, it I don't know. Tiger 454. So good to see you. How are you? How you doing? Yeah, hope everybody's doing well. Majik is in the house. So good to see you. He said, I'm going to bed. Just stop by to say, have a great live in Skull. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Sleep well and keep throwing them axes. Skull. Yeah. But that's right. Mayhemicness is inbound. Tell him, Ghost Lincoln. Yeah. Yeah. That's what's happening tonight. But folks, we're going to talk about this. We're going to get this right. Show Intel. So good to see you. How are you? Yeah. Amy King, if I didn't speak to you, hi. Cherokee Survival. Welcome in, y'all. Y'all come on in. Dave Busby. Good evening, sir. How are you? Come on in, y'all. Settle down. We're going to talk about SHTF and all of that craziness and PTSD. Now, we're gonna tiptoe into this thing and talk about it because it is real and it could happen. I pray that it doesn't, but it could. Yeah, it really, really could happen, and we just want to make sure that we know about it, we're thinking about it, and we know how to properly deal with it. God's Blade 300. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping in tonight. I appreciate it. There he is, Yardbirds. I will sleep when I'm dead, and when I turn to dust, I will smile. There you go, Yardbirds. Right, sleep's overrated. I'm with you. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, without a doubt. It is, yeah, overrated for sure. Okay, let's dive into tonight's topic because why not? Every other day, something crazy happens or more shenanigans are happening, and we just need to make sure we okay. Yeah. Uh, Katrinka said, is there a lag for voice to video or is it me? I'm not sure. I know it's perfectly fine here. Yeah. So, it may be you. I'm not sure. I don't know. Can I get a 5x5 if the mouth is moving with the sound and this is not a B-rated kung fu movie? There you go, right there. Amy just said it's good on my end. Yeah. Nick Easy, good to see you, my friend. Ha! Ghost Lincoln said, I hear shenanigans. TD, TDDR, good to see you. How you be? That's right, Half Ready. He said, SHTF will definitely cause PTSD. Yep, I watch my wife start shaking every time the wind starts blowing down here after Helena, almost a year gone by. And see that's what we need to talk about. Thank you, TD. Appreciate it. So those of y'all that may have served in our great military, or anybody that has suffered any type of traumatic uh, event, PTSD, and it may not have to be, crazy, but it's real. Yeah. Yeah. Steel and Tree, welcome in. Vet Prep, good to see you, my brother. How are you? Yeah. Um, but here's the thing. PTSD is real, and during SHTF, if it's full blown, all out, do what you got to do, there it is. Hudson Valley said, yes, there is a big lag. Kung Fu flick engaged. Well, let's see. What are we doing here? Huh. I don't hear myself. So if there's a lag, I am so sorry. Um, yeah, everything here looks okay. Hoogie Homestead, good to see ya. Thank you. How are you? Welcome in. See, Half Ready said, I'm having Bruce Lee flashbacks. Yeah, well, yes. Yep, Yardbird said PTSD is very real. I had it in a hospital setting, but I shook it off, but it wasn't easy. Yeah. And no matter what it is, where it is, Magic, welcome in. Everybody, um, all that good stuff. Amy King, I don't know why there's a lag, y'all. Well, I do know. It's YT doesn't like us. If you don't believe me, ask Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. Um, yeah. So we can handle it. Trent, keep preaching. Okay, there we go. I will do that. Sure, watch the replay. It'll be perfectly fine. But during the live stream, yeah. Hoogie family taking a ham test Monday. Awesome, 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 awesome. Hudson Valley said check your storage on your laptop. My laptop has 1 terabyte of storage. It could be EV Mux, but I'll deal with that later. Advert, welcome in, welcome in. So good to see you. So let's talk about this while we wait on our guest. Hopefully he shows up. He may not. Y'all, during SHTF, yes, vet prep teens do suffer the most from PTSD. Yes, they do. That's true. Rule, good to see you. So during SHTF, we're gonna start slow and tippity toe into this. So the balloon goes up, everybody starts doing their thing, activating their plans, and getting to wherever they need to be, whether you're bugging in and doing the things and people are coming to you, or you're packing up and bugging out and going somewhere. Okay, let's just take that first. So just getting there to your place of, air quotes for those listening, safety, getting to your place of safety could be traumatic. You don't know, we don't know what we may have to do en route to or from. We don't know what we may come across. Once you get to that safe place, you could have to deal with something that happened on the way. Okay. And that is wherever you're going, I'm not going to say leader, but whoever's property you're at, X, NYC, good to see you, my brother. Hope you're doing well. Welcome in and thank you for stopping in this evening and joining us, bruh. Hope everything is going well where you may be. That person is going to have discernment to be able to help you, us, that individual decompress for the moment, because you're needed. And if you're dealing with something mentally and or physically, you may finally roll in and you got scars, holes, wounds that need to be attended to. While you're being attended to, you gotta get in that mental state. And I know all this is easier said than done until it happens. I know that, I understand it, but we're gonna talk through this. How do we help that person at least initially begin to calm down, y'all? How do we get that person to calm down? How do we help that person so-called relaxed? Rip, good to see you. Welcome in. It's something that we need to think about and make sure that whether it be water, let them rest, help them unpack their gear. Right, Katrinka, we got to get that person grounded because we need that person, and that person needs us. JD, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Exactly, Rule. Everybody has different mental needs, and we have to recognize what that person may or may not need. It may take a minute because the first thing they're going to say once they're there, maybe they, got in a skirmish on the way, or just traffic itself, or just the fact that SHTF is kicked off. Exactly, JD. If you're calm, they'll be calm. Right. That's rule number one. You have to be able to calm them down. Right. Right, Nick. Speak firmly and directly to help them. Yes. Give them some water. Craig the Hunter, good to see you. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Yardbird said the reason they call it post-traumatic stress disorder is because it may not show up immediately. Right. It might be days or weeks or more. Absolutely. That's what I was alluding to. Most hated Bronze, good to see you. They may say, I'm fine. I'm okay. Just, I need a minute. And that's okay. Give them their space. Let them do what they need to do. And, go from there. But, there are tall tale signs. If they're getting there and they're like this, they're all jittery and all of that, let them relax. Tell them to have a seat. They're safe. You're okay. You're here now. And, everything is going to be all right. We have to think about that. We have to sometimes let that person rant or tell the story of what happened. That's one way for them to express. Right, Rule? We say a cup of coffee and a slice of pie. Skull. Mm-hmm. That may be it. Maybe it's a hug and say, I'm glad you're here and all of that. Right. Craig said, I look out for big eyes. Yeah. If they're, like this, they could be in shock. And that's a whole nother issue that we got to learn to deal with. Yep. Coffee and a cookie. Yeah. Chamomile tea, see, is it good for calming? I keep it on hand. Yes. And those are the things we have to be aware of. Plain and simple. Do I have all the solutions? Do we have all the solutions? No. Yeah. Ghost Lincoln said, I'm sorry, but if you don't bring me a piece of pie or a cup of coffee, you ain't getting a hug. Well, for those, Hudson Valley, you absolutely my brother. And by the way, my brother from another mother's skull. Sometimes there's nothing we can do for them. And that's one of the hardest things to accept. That's true. We just have to let them be and keep doing what we need to do for the good of the group or family, whatever. That's a good point, Mike. Good point. Exactly, Yardbirds. Let them rant and express, but also understand they think what they're expressing is very real to them, personal experience. That's true. Yeah. Ghost needs a hug. Well, when Ghost comes here, He knows what the first thing out of my mouth is after "good to see you, bruh. How can I help you?" I'm like, "Good to see you. Welcome." And coffee's off. There's always hot coffee here. Uh-oh. I hear the pitter patter of big feet. Hi, you have slobber on your forehead, dude. What you been doing? Y'all's favorite fur nephew just came leaping and bounding in here. Lay down. And he just must have been outside with. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Live. Yeah. The COO. Yeah. If you heard that, there you go. Rob B, welcome in. Good to see you. Oh, y'all. The cup. Jangle jingled away. Listen. And if you can't hear that, steamy and full. How are you? Apparently, y'all had a good time outside, and he did go to the bathroom. Huh? You okay? Yeah. I love you. Thank you. Say hi to everybody. Hola. The COO says hello to everybody as she disappears. Oki Khan, good to see you. Good to see you. Ghost Lincoln said, I hugged Cole once. I think I froze his brain. That's because he touched your beard and was like, what in the blue blazes is that? See, everybody speaking to the COO. Yep. Yeah. And that's a good thing. Saffron Bay, welcome in. Saffron Bay said, helping someone with PTSD partially depends on what the PTSD is attached to. Refer them to angry Viking therapist. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Juby Joe, welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, it's all this is a topic that me by far am nowhere near an expert on dealing with PTSD. Um, but we need to talk about it because there's smarter folks in the chat than I, and we can come up with different things. Yeah. Rabbit, welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, y'all, here's the thing. The first most important thing is to understand that something happened. Okay. And, don't slough it off. And let them vent if necessary, but also let them know we got stuff to do. Greenleaf, welcome in, welcome in. He said, my brother has it from being a Green Beret. It is tough to watch. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, Wolfang, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Now, second thing, let's talk about if there's a situation and there is a loss of life. And I truly pray that nobody ever has to experience that, um, whether it's a stranger or a loved one. Because during SHTF, y'all, everything is off the books. They're yeah. The bingo cards are ruined, and we got to do what we got to do. Right. Mike said some folks react oddly, go mute, night terrors, freeze up. Everyone is different and will have a different reaction. Absolutely. And we have to come to the realization that we may have to make a hard decision to protect the group. Meaning, whether it's a conflict and with somebody trying to take y'all stuff, our stuff, and somebody's unalived. Half ready, you're right. We need to talk about mental health every day. It's a subject near to my heart, and I've buried too many Marines in the last 30 years. I wish I was an expert on the subject. I'm with you. I'm not an expert on it, and I have lost a lot of friends growing up as well. And we got to talk about these things. But everybody reacts different. One thing I can say, and I don't have an exact formula to do it, but if you have a group and there's kids, got to protect the babies at all cost. At all cost. I don't care how or what, for a child to either see or experience someone come becoming unalived, whether they know them or not, is traumatic. And I truly hope that none of us in this chat and or in this great country ever have to deal with that. Period. Um, but it's a hard decision for all of us in the chat that are parents that have kids. We will protect them at all cost. Um, do what you can and do what you must, plain and simple, to protect the kids. Connie Corso said, my wife says administrative PTSD runs rampant in the school system. I'm sure it does. Yep, exactly, Juby. Yeah, and that's Rule said PTSD during SHTF will be difficult. Sometimes you won't have what's needed, and they are too far traumatized to save. They become a danger to the group and themselves. They could be. They could be, Rule. I don't have a formula for it. All I can say is we have to deal with it the best we can if and when it happens. That's all we can do. Good, Mike. Good suggestion. There are books and channels on YouTube that can help us better learn how to deal with people dealing with PTSD. Prepping with Sarge is a therapist who works with first responders and often offers advice. You know what? I'm going to reach out to Sarge, and we may have to do a part 2 and get some insight from Sarge. Thank you, Hudson Valley. That's good. That's good. Yeah, gotta have no fear because people are depending on us, and we have to keep on and keep going forth. Yeah, Rip. If I didn't speak to you, good to see you. Craig said the drugs they give don't help. Your faith is the way, but it will always be a struggle. The gym helps as well. I suffered hardcore panic attacks after Hurricane Katrina. It's much better now. Well, I'm glad it is, Craig, and thank you for sharing that with the group, because there's other ways we got to get them to deal with it. I know personally for me, if there's a hard situation that went down, I can't just sit. In order for me to work through it and get through it, I have to be doing something. Got to do something. And while I'm doing something, I can think about it and work through it. But, depending on what it is, um, all we can do is do our best. Awesome. Awesome, 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 Mike. Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can get him on possibly next Tuesday to do a part two of this because I want to hear what he has to say about it because he is a professional. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So I'm gonna reach out to him tonight and see if I can see if he's available next Tuesday. Yep. Yardbird said it'd be easier to deal with if the folks in your group are trusted by the person suffering PTSD. That's true, and I can say our group, everybody trusts everybody, and yeah, everybody can help. Yep. Um, Rip said, Vision, you got me, but it's always good to say, I appreciate you again. I appreciate you, Rip, as always, my brother. Thank you for stopping in. Hope you and the family are doing fantabulous. Fantabulous. Um, but what we need to do, folks, I I don't have all the answers. And I don't expect to have all the answers. But I am aware that during SHTF, folks will be dealing with and um, having to worry, not worry, but have PTSD, plain and simple. Um, and if you don't believe me, you ask anybody that has served uh, in active combat. Exactly. I know that's right, Hudson Valley. Yeah, Prepping with Sarge is awesome. If you guys have not subscribed to his channel, please do so. Please do so. OVP, good to see you, my brother. Skull. Right, Amy. Every PTSD is not the same. No, and you can't treat it that way. You have to deal with that person where they're at and what's going on. Saffron Bay said, Angry Viking Therapist is on YT and is a therapist, former cop who had to learn to fix himself because the pros couldn't. Right. He had severe PTSD. Yeah. And that's just it. Um, we got to do what we got to do. We Terry, good to see you. Hope you're doing well and blessings to you and yours as well. Cherokee Survival, good to see you, my brother. Hope you're doing well. Um, yeah, Saffron, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and you guys may want to go check out the Angry Viking Therapist and see what he has to say. You know, every little bit helps for sure. Um, and that's what we need to do. Yeah. Yep. Wolfang, welcome in, my brother. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Prepping with Sarge. Speak of the man, the myth, the professional. Prepping with Sarge. Good to see you. How are you? Our topic tonight: dealing with PTSD during full-blown SHTF. Sarge, I'm going to send you an email, hopefully either tonight or this weekend. I would love for you to join me, um, if you can, next Tuesday or Thursday, Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time or Thursday at 8 p.m. to do a part two, because I would love to have you um, up here with me talking about dealing in depth with PTSD during full blown SHTF. I appreciate you if you can and would like to. Um, could one of my amazing moderators please drop a link in the chat to Prepping with Sarge's channel? Um, exactly, Hudson Valley. Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, uh-huh. There's always coincidences are well planned out, and I appreciate it. And yeah, Little Lone Prepper said, I understand dealing with real PTSD, but I don't have any patience with people who melt down over every little thing. And I agree with you on that, Little Lone Prepper. Um, Sometimes you just gotta. Hudson Valley. That's right. I was just getting ready to ask you, prepping with Sarge, were your ears ringing? Because yeah, we were talking with you. Yeah. But folks, it's going to be real. During SHTF, no matter how big or small, people in your family, in your group, in your mag, whatever you want to call it, some may suffer from PTSD. Like we talked at the beginning, just the event of them getting to your location or you getting to their location. And then we went slowly through that matrix of having to defend where you are. No matter how it is or how many there are, we have to understand that some will send him a link. Sarge, if you're available, would you like to join us now? I will drop a link. I'm not sure, and I don't want to put you on the spot. Um, but if you would like to join, just say yay or nay. I can hop on for a few. Look at that. All right. Well, let me do some magic here and get you up here, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, and I appreciate it. This was right on time. There and there and here. In the meantime, if you guys have questions, please get them ready because Sarge, I just sent you the link, and I appreciate you and thank you. This couldn't have been better played out than making coffee in the morning. Link sent, Sarge. Um, by the way, Blackbird, welcome in. Tammy Harder, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. I did not see your post, Cherokee. Soil Sister, welcome in. Good to see you. Half Ready said, Mike, so many people are affected by PTSD directly or indirectly. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yep. It brings the good in people's heart fast. It does. It truly does. Um, yeah. JD there and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Prepping with Sarge. How are you, Sarge?
Doing good. Hey, sorry if my lighting and mic's not great. I wasn't really expecting to go live tonight, but
I understand. We can see and hear you, and thank you.
no worries.
I don't know who, how, or what, but this was absolutely right on time.
Well, yeah, I was over on Orlando Prepper was just live a few minutes ago, so a bunch of us came over here right after that one.
I appreciate it, and thank you.
Yeah,
So
thanks for talking about this. It's an issue that not enough people are talking about in the prepping community, and we need to be.
exactly, and I was having a conversation with a good friend in our group last night, and they mentioned it, and we were talking about. I said, you know what? That's not really a topic that I personally have heard of. And we all talk about prepping and SHTF and doing this and dealing with that, but the mental aspect of it.
Yeah.
So folks, if you have questions, put them in caps, or I'll put up the question poll. But so, first of all, Sarge, how would you deal with somebody? And we're going to stay generic because
Mhm.
I'm not. We don't have to get deep, and then the clock's ticking. How do you approach somebody that could be suffering from PTSD just from either getting to the location or helping defend something that went down at the house, the homestead, whatever?
Mhm. Well, there's a couple things that people should probably be aware of. And for people wondering, my credentials are I'm a master's level licensed therapist. I've been working in the field for about 25 years. My primary population that I work with is first responders, and I have some combat veterans as well that I work with.
Awesome.
Um, there's a huge range from it. Like people
Hmm.
can have some symptoms where maybe they get some nightmares, maybe they get some agitation, things like that. Maybe there's flashbacks that they get periodically. And then there's people who get like real severe where it's hard for them to even work, because their symptoms can
Hmm.
get so bad.
Hmm.
Their treatments have come a long way from like Vietnam era. There really wasn't great treatment then, and a lot of it got missed, which unfortunately led to a lot of our Vietnam vets ending up out on the street. And then
Hmm.
in the first responder community for a very long time, there was this attitude of just suck it up, Buttercup. You're going to see bad things. You're going to have to do some tough things, and if you can't hack it, get out. Right, and that was just the
Right.
attitude. The reality is that unless you live in a unless you're a first responder in a very small, quiet community, usually within the first few months, they're going to see some pretty crazy stuff. They're going to see dead bodies, decaying bodies.
Hmm.
They're going to probably have to do CPR on somebody. They're going to see car accidents, and people don't realize, if you've been lucky enough that you haven't had to deal with a family member with something like this, the
Yeah.
human body is pretty durable up to a certain point, but when it has an impact over 60 miles an hour, things start flying apart, and it's not pretty.
Exactly.
So they see some pretty bad stuff. So in a scenario like that, obviously, if we're talking about like an SHTF where things are really breaking down and violence is getting bad, and
Hmm.
um, we're going to see a lot more people dealing with some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just anxiety for some people. Maybe it's a lot of depression. I think you would see a lot of depression if systems start falling apart,
Right.
and trauma too, right? Like, as if people have never had any kind of training on how to deal with that stuff, and most of us haven't, right?
Hmm.
And they
Yep.
start seeing dead bodies, or they start getting shot at, or
Yeah.
crazy stuff like that, then your fight flight freeze is going to kick in an emergency. And this is what a lot of people don't know. So if there's one thing I would have people remember from tonight, and we could talk,
Hmm.
you and I can set up another one. We could do a longer one,
Yes.
but this
Okay.
is the one thing I would have people take away from tonight. Your fight flight freeze is embedded in your DNA. Okay. So you may think, oh, I would be that guy that
Hmm.
fights back, that grabs my rifle and fights back, but you
Right.
really don't know unless you've had training and you've been in that experience. Your DNA is where that comes from, and
Okay.
uh, freeze was actually the first in terms of human evolution. Freeze was the
Hmm.
first one that developed because
Okay.
hundreds of thousands of years ago, a lot of the predators hunted by eyesight. So
Okay.
if you froze, you had a good chance of living and passing on your DNA. So that was the first one. And fight came much later when humans started learning how to hunt together. That's what we think, anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're all born with like a predetermined whether you're going to have fight, flight, or freeze, and you can train out of it. So if you're a freeze person or if you're a flight person, you can train to fight, and that's
Okay.
exactly what like police academy does, and boot camp, and fire
Hmm.
academy and things like that. So
Right.
they learn to overcome that natural instinct, and so if they've had that, that's if they've had that kind of training, they're probably going to be in good shape in emergencies. After the emergencies, that's when things can get a little bit dicey, right? That's when people can
Right.
get symptoms. But honestly, if I had people on that I was picking for my team, in a real
Hmm.
bad breakdown of society,
Yeah.
I would absolutely take a veteran that's had combat experience but also has
Yep.
PTSD all day long. I'll take that person
Exactly.
because in that moment, I know they've got a really high chance that they're going to go into fight mode because they've
Right.
already done it and they've had the training.
Okay. And that's a good point you bring up. Um, and folks, you got to know your people,
Mm.
especially if you have veterans in your group. Like Sarge said, more than likely they're going to fight
Mhm.
versus freeze or flight. Um,
Now, it's not to
so,
say that like people, people that aren't first responders or veterans that they're
mhm,
useless. I mean, we're going to need, if things break down, you're going to need medics, you're going to need gardeners, you're going to need hunters, you're going to need foragers, you're going to need people who can do childcare, you're going to need people
yep,
who've had nursing experience. So there's roles for everybody. It's not to say that like if you've not had that kind of stuff experience that you're useless. Definitely not.
right.
But but I know like your question was if they had to make it from point A to point B,
Hmm.
I feel like that group has got a pretty good chance of making it from point A to
Yeah,
point B.
exactly. So there was a question said, are there levels of PTSD,
Yeah,
Sarge?
absolutely. So, and it ties into let's say that you and I were firefighters, okay?
Hmm.
And we go to a scene and it's a pretty bad scene. Let's say we go into this house and we realize that there was kids in this house and they died, okay?
Right.
And we may, depending on how we process that afterwards, we may start getting some PTSD symptoms, right?
Hmm.
And first event, so maybe it's not too bad. Well, what if also I have had a child in my childhood, I was in a house fire.
Yeah.
That adds to it. Okay.
Yep.
And so certain things, the way things connect, and not just
Hmm.
with specifically the events, but also like how we think about those events, how we felt about ourselves in those events. So the brain likes to store like with like. And
Right.
when there's the more those connections are, the more complex the PTSD can get. Um,
Right.
I'm oversimplifying it a little bit here, but yes, that.
No, I understand. My oldest brother was a medic here in a big city here in Ohio, and they literally had to take pictures
Mhm,
of every scene.
mhm,
And I used to ride with them on some of their calls, and you're right. You we saw guys that literally, they would walk up to a car accident and the car burned
yeah,
and there were people inside.
yeah,
And I remember I didn't get out the truck, but I was close enough that I saw and I was okay. But there was a rookie that literally was standing there and was frozen and did
mhm,
not move.
yeah. Did they
Um,
get him going? Did somebody come up
Yeah,
to him?
they did.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely. Immediately, one of the other medics walked up to him and said, "Come here. I need you
mhm.
to help me do this and this,"
There you
and
go.
and got him kicked into his job
Yep.
and worked through it. And it was pretty cool. And if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't have never noticed it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good thing that people can do is if you see somebody's like frozen or whatnot, if you can
Hmm.
give them something that they can handle, that kind of pulls that mind out of that a little bit, and
Hmm.
they can get going.
Yeah.
Um, even with some of my really experienced first responders,
Hmm.
they can get surprised and see something really unusual. I don't want to get too graphic here, but there are things that defy logic that people will see. You
Yeah.
know, things that again, not without getting graphic, things that people shouldn't have survived.
Yes.
Sometimes they still survive, and the brain
Exactly.
has a hard time understanding that when they walk into a scene and they're like, "How is this person still breathing?" Like
Yeah.
there's not much left here, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I remember my brother telling a story, and this guy was a Kentucky Fried Chicken delivery driver. Okay. And they were on the highway, and the delivery driver, for whatever reason, ran into the back of a open bed semi
Mm.
that was carrying pipe.
Ooh. Yeah.
Exactly.
He got
And
he got impaled.
he got impaled. Not only did he get impaled, but and folks, y'all have to forgive me, but I'm gonna say it as nicely as I can. His head was split
Mhm.
open from the top of his head to the bottom of his neck,
Yeah.
and all you could see was one tooth
Yeah.
in the back of his head.
Yeah.
And how these guys deal with it, there was a bucket of chicken literally sitting perfectly on the ground with the lid on it. One of the medics walked over, picked up the bucket, ripped off the top, and pulled out a chicken leg and started eating it. And
Yeah.
everybody busted out laughing. He's
Yeah.
like, "What?"
You have to have a dark sense of humor to do that work. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly what all these guys, they would always do that
Yeah.
because it's a horrific scene,
Yeah.
and they have to have that sense of humor to get everybody jump started in
Yeah.
doing their job.
I'll tell you what, since from me doing it, I've unfortunately it's rubbed off on me too. And like I will laugh at something that other people would look at me and be like, that's
Yeah.
not funny, you know.
Yeah. I'm
And
the same way. Yes.
it's from listening to the stories of the people that I work with, and unfortunately that rubbed off on me. So I have and I'm aware of that, and I have to be careful. Like things that I might tell a joke that other people would be like, "That's not cool," you know what I mean? So I have to be careful and monitor that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and I guess that's why it would have to be something horrific because I've seen a lot. I rode with my brother and those guys, those medics, for years. And, even my brother, seeing him after he was in a, what do they call it, backdraft,
Hmm.
and they made it out
Wow.
before he became a medic.
Yeah.
Um, he just tells story after story after story, and you're sitting there like, why would you even run into a building that is burning?
Yeah. Everything in your body should be saying, don't do that, but that's what they train for, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So during SHTF, like you said, I mean, if it's full blown and it's on, we could experience basically anything.
Yeah. Yeah,
How?
I mean,
Go ahead.
people
I'm
would
sorry.
I was gonna say people would get desperate, and even people who normally wouldn't do terrible things,
Hmm.
if their kids are starving, you'd be surprised.
Exactly. Yes. As my dad used to say, during horrific times, good men will do bad things, bad men will do terrible things.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah. So, how, what are some things that we could do to, and I alluded to this earlier, um, protect the children
Mhm.
during some type of event or skirmish, or even just traveling and seeing a dead body?
Yeah, as much as you can, I would try to shield them from it until they're old enough to be able to maturely understand that. We have to
Mhm.
remember that children's minds are not fully developed yet.
Right.
Even, I worry about even like young adults. Like you can be, I don't know what the norm is for the country, but you can be an EMT here at like 18 years old. You can be a
Hmm.
paramedic soon after that, like maybe I think 19 or 20 if you've
Yeah,
done the
same
training.
here in Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the brain hasn't even fully finished developing until about 25.
Hmm.
There's a part of the brain here, the frontal lobe, which is involved with like decision making and somewhat with executive functioning, which is like motivation and things like that. And so that's
Right.
not even fully developed yet. It's
Yeah.
still in process. So, um, again, there's a huge difference between an 8-year old and an 18-year old, obviously, right? And
Right.
we'll put a rifle in an 18-year-old's hands and send them off to war. So I understand all that. But to little kids, as much as you can, yeah, you would want to try to shield them from that if they do see it. And the best thing you can do is like try to talk to, normalize that it's okay to feel scared, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to feel sad,
Hmm.
and encourage them to talk with adults too. If you see that it's having an effect on them, if you can get somebody talking about it and normalize, like, yeah, you're right, that's a pretty awful thing, or That must have been really hard for you to deal with that. That does help a lot in mitigating, long-term stuff. The sooner you can get to it.
Right. There's a question here from Rule 2IC.
Mhm.
How would someone without professional training recognize the different mental situations to deal with them as correctly as possible?
Well, depression should be pretty obvious to people. If somebody who's getting depressed, their voice is probably going to start to get real flat like that, and you'll start to notice their emotions. Their motivation's going to drop. They may or may not cry. That's another thing. Is like with depression, it manifests differently in people, especially in men. Men can turn depression into anger.
Mm-hmm.
So you might see
Mm-hmm.
it as agitation, and you might think, man, this guy's he's got an anger management problem. No, he might be depressed.
Right.
um,
That's a good
and
point.
yeah, anxiety is a little bit tougher. People will tend to hide their anxiety. you know
Mm-hmm.
um, the PTSD, nightmares is a big classic one, that if people are having nightmares, that's recurrent, especially if it's the same kind of theme recurrently.
Mm-hmm.
Flashbacks is another one where they kind of get immersed in a scene in their mind from the past,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that can be like fully immersed, like they feel like they're back in the scene. Or it can be
Okay.
very, very mild, where they're hearing something that's not there, or smelling something that's not there. So it really just depends. Because of the work that I do, I can see when that's happening with my patients.
Yeah.
And usually what I see for them is their eyes will kind of get like a little bit of a vacant look to it.
Okay.
And sometimes their eyes will kind of like do this like little dart thing where they're kind of moving.
Uh-huh.
uh, and as a therapist, I'm in a different role, so I'm trying to help
Yeah.
them work through that. But
Right.
even then, I'm I'll kind of count it out in my head when I see it happening, and I'll give them a couple seconds, see if they can get out of it on their own. If I get
Right.
to like 6 seconds and they're not coming out of it,
Yeah.
I'm pulling them out, and so I'll start saying, "Hey, look around the room. Remember where you are. We're just in my therapy office. You're
There
safe.
you go.
There's nothing
Right.
going on right now. Breathe, look around the room. What do you see in the room? Okay.
Right.
Listen to my voice. Remember where you are. And they usually, once you do that, they can come around pretty quick. And then I can ask them, what were you seeing there? What was happening?
Right. And that's good. That you see that and you can talk them through that.
Mhm.
And a lot of times, I can tell when my kids are agitated or something's not right.
Mhm.
And I try to talk with them and talk through it, and then just sit there and listen
Yep.
if they're willing to talk about it.
That's good. Yeah. And here's one more thing I'll add to that. And this is something I
Um,
tell all parents is, if you create, and this is for your spouses too, right? Like, this is a good
yeah.
one to know for your spouses. If you create the opportunity for somebody to talk, and you say it's okay if you want to talk about this, and they choose not to in that second, that's okay.
Yeah.
They might need to process it a little bit and get their words together. So they might come back to you 2 hours later, 2 days later, 2 weeks later, but you've opened that door to like make it okay now.
Right. And that's the key is always communication.
Yep.
Um,
So
but
do you notice that with your kids? Like, if you say you want
yeah.
to talk, they say no, but then they might come back a little bit later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I had to do that with our son. He lost his mom last year, and
Mm,
he was 19.
yeah.
So I told him, I said, I'm dad, and I'm always here. If you want to talk about what you're feeling and what you're going through, anytime.
Yeah. Good.
And
Good.
the first thing out of a teenager's mouth is, "Yeah, okay, dad."
Yeah.
And
But
I
then, but
left
then,
it at that. Yeah.
yeah, but then he came back later on.
Yeah, we talked about it. We had a brief conversation,
Good.
and I told him, I said, "Hey, anytime you want to talk about it, just let me know, and we talk about
That's
it."
good.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
that's perfect. That's
yeah.
what I try to tell parents to do. Don't force them if they say
Hmm.
no, I don't want to talk. You've opened the
Hmm.
door. They'll probably come back later.
Hmm. Exactly. But folks, this is a topic that is bigger than I expected. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, really? I have zero professional experience, and we just start talking about it, and then lo and behold, Hudson Valley mentions, well, prepping with Sarge as a counselor. I was like, yeah, he is, and then all of a sudden, here you are.
The world is funny like that. The universe is funny like that. You know,
it is, and I appreciate you coming up,
my
and
pleasure.
I'm gonna send you an email,
Yeah, let's
and
set something up.
yes, because I would love to do a part two
Okay.
of this, because you're right, and a lot of the prepping channels we don't talk about it,
Yeah.
and we need to talk about it, especially the way the world's going.
Yep.
Um, but I
Yep.
appreciate you. I'm not going to keep you, Sarge.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to hop on for a few minutes. We'll set
Yes.
up a part two. Sounds good.
Okay. I'll send you an email this weekend and throw some dates out at you. And if you're available, we'll work it out.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All
Have a
right.
good evening.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yep. All you got to do is click the X and then you can close the browser. Thank you, Sarge. Appreciate you. Yes, indeed. Folks, we're going to do a part two. I'm going to send Prepping with Sarge an email. Frontier Prepper, welcome in. And welcome in everybody that I didn't personally get to speak to. You guys are all. Time flies when you're having fun. I'll say that. Although this is not a fun topic, it is a necessary topic, because you never know what's going on. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, I appreciate you, my brother. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes. It is best to let people know you're listening when they are ready to talk. Absolutely. And just let them happen. Frontier Prepper said any mental health condition will worsen during SHTF without medication or help. Ms. D, with a master's in psychology and a license in mental health counseling, is in charge of this role. And that is awesome, Frontier Preppers. And as always, I appreciate you, my brother. Um, Folks, we're going to schedule a part two. I'm going to hit Sarge up this weekend with an email, and because I want to continue this conversation, because I feel like I'm leaving everybody hanging, and I don't want to do that. I want us to have some clear direction and clear thoughts. That's right, OVP said you don't know how you'll react until you see the bodies on the ground. That's true. And if you've never seen one, you're going to have to deal with it. Unfortunately, I have, and yeah, it is what it is. But I will say this to everybody: I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight, dealing with PTSD during full-blown SHTF. We're going to have a part two, and I'm actually going to change this thumbnail and put Prepping with Sarge on there, and we're going to schedule a part two. And do me a favor, folks. First of all, hit the like button. Share this out, because I guarantee you, YouTube is going to suppress this, stomp this down, and not let this valuable information get out. Share it out. And also come back and leave a comment. You can, I don't care if you just come back and say peanut butter. Put in a comment, share this out, and we're going to do a part two, and yeah, continue this conversation. But I will say this: I appreciate each and every one of y'all for joining me tonight. And remember this, folks: keep on prepping, because your family depends on you, and it depends on your life. God bless everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening. The weekend is in our face, and we will see you in the next video. Good night. Stay safe and stay strapped. time is now.